A very good afternoon, everyone. So we will be beginning at 12:35. So let's give some time to our participants to join, and then we shall begin. Please bear with us. Also, those participants who have joined, can you please confirm the same in the main group with the phrases that you have joined? Just say that okay, I've joined, so that other people might see it and join as well. Yes. Okay. I believe we are live, right? There was some technical glitches. Now it's mended. Now we are back. Okay. So without any further ado, hi everyone. Okay. So without any further ado, let's begin our today's session, which is how the Chinese e-products, their goods and telecom services and equipments and everything have monopolized the Indian market, and how did they strategize to actually pave their way into the Indian market, right? So that's what we'll be discussing about today. Before beginning right into it, it is right.
It is Rishabh. I think there is some problem in your connection.
Yeah.
Please rejoin it.
Okay. So before actually diving into the topic, I wanted to discuss a few things with you people who have been regularly participating into our weekly brainstorming session. The first thing was that, do you understand the concept of brainstorming? Brainstorming is to generate ideas, to share ideas, right? It's usually done in a group, a community, or a club, right? So what we actually do is that we present a problem in front of them, and they share their ideas, their perspective on how to innovatively solve that particular problem, right? Now, that is the essence, that is the true essence of brainstorming. Now, what I have been and everyone have been witnessing is that our brainstorming sessions are pretty good. You people have voiced your opinions so good and everything. The thing is, we are kind of losing the originality of the essence of brainstorming, right? What we are receiving is second-hand information from the net, which is available for everyone else, right? So instead of also those second-hand information and everything, those are necessary to give the context of the whole brainstorming ideas and everything. But somewhere we are losing the essence of that true brainstorming, where people give their original ideas into what can we actually do about the problem, right? Like the recycled plastic and everything. Of course, there are a lot of startups and everything working efficiently and working day and night actively on the problems. What I saw was the sharing of second-hand information a lot, right? It was absolutely great, the rebuttal group and everything. But I would request everyone to please keep the essence of that brainstorming session, right? Where you share your original ideas, your original concepts on how to strategize and how to do away with a problem that is presented to you. That means the topic. So let's begin with the topic with our very first participant, Mr. Nafiz Ahmed Khan. Nafiz, are you there? Do we have Nafiz with us? Okay, I believe we don't. Uh, Moving on to Devopriyo De. Deopriyo, do we have?
Yes, am I audible and visible?
Yeah, Deopriyo. The virtual stage is all yours. All the best.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Very good afternoon. Yeah, right. Good afternoon to everybody. And yeah, I am here to again. I am here to present my views. Yeah, as Bhaiya said that. Yeah, this time I will surely keep this in mind that I present my views, my opinions on the topic how Chinese mobile and telecom companies invaded the Indian market. So, with to start with, I would just like to share some facts that in the first quarter of 2014, Chinese brand has had only 7% of the Indian market share in the smartphone sector, and Micromax had beaten Samsung India to become the number one smartphone in India. But but in first quarter of 2019, Chinese brand in Indian smartphone market had a share of 66%. That's 66%. So it's a huge jump. And at that time, in the first quarter of 2014, the Chinese brands such as Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, these were in their initial stage. So how did they come from that 7% to that 66%? And where our sorry for the disturbance, the outside noise. Okay, so where did these Indian brands like Micromax, Lava, Carbon failed to compete with these Chinese mobile brands? So I just think that Chinese brand invaded the Indian market with their high specs and low prices. We are Indians, so we always prefer to buy things that are that are having good qualities and are in the parallelly low priced. So the Chinese, we saw everywhere the Chinese brand provided goods at a very low price, and eventually they have, yeah, the earlier they were providing very low specs, very underrated specs, but now they are providing high specs. So how are they providing these high specs and low prices, and where is Indian brand lacking these things? So I would like to light up to the points that is a cheap level. We all know that about the cheap level, so I am not talking very much about that, but I want to light up on that the raw material which are used in making of the smartphones are also Chinese brands, guys. So if the raw material are also the Chinese, so it reduces the cost of buying those raw materials as they are produced in China only. So this is reducing the cost of the raw material, and they are giving that finished product in a very low price. So they are not a charity service or something like that. They one fine they decided to give smartphone to the Indian people, Indian middle class, sorry to say, but Indian middle class people, to so that they can watch Netflix and Amazon Prime. They are not a charity service or something like that. So how are they doing this? They are getting cheap labor, raw material that are produced in China, so they are making this finished product in a very low price. So, and also I would like to share that at that time, Micromax and Lava and Carbon, these companies were very much inclined in making profit from their brands. They made a 20 to 30% profit margin. So it's a huge profit margin that Indian brands were making from the smartphone. In order to make this much of profit, they were increasing the price of the mobile phones, and they were not providing such specs. So it is not good for a long run. Whereas China, the today's number one brand in India, that is Xiaomi, said that it is making only 5% of the profit from its smartphone, and whereas it is expanding its market in other sectors also, like backpacks and all. So there the Indian market lagged. If Micromax and other phone companies, mobile Indian mobile companies had invested some of their amount in the R&D sector, in the innovation sector, and they have invested the amount in hiring their specs and giving the best of the best to the customers, they would have made a space in the customer's heart, and we wouldn't have replaced them with the Chinese mobile brands. So again, there comes a question of advertising. So how to reach in the local mind people, means how the Chinese brand reach or invaded the minds of the local people. Okay, Okay, so we have seen that Robert Downey Jr. Advertising a Sony, I guess, and Sony Xperia signed a contract to show their product in the latest James Bond movie. But what these Chinese brand preferred, they preferred social media sites, guys. So the middle class or the low class people won't be seeing Robert Downey Jr. movies or a James Bond movie, but they will have an account on Facebook or Instagram. They will be having it. So these brands, they made their advertisement available on the social networking sites, so they can easily reach the people who are in need of these smartphone, which are at a very low price, so they can watch their Netflix and Amazon. Okay, so the advertising of their brand and reaching the appropriate target customer is also a
Devopriyo,
very, yeah, I
you,
should conclude.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I should conclude. Yeah. So this is the second point was the advertising, and the last point where the Chinese brands were very pretty much ready for, and Indian brands lacked it, was when Geo 4G was launched. So it provided the Indian with a free net with 4G network connection, and we want more in less price. Yeah, we Indian wants more in less price, so we wanted a 4G phone, and Indian brands were not prepared to launch 4Gs, whereas Chinese brands such as Xiaomi, Realme, Redmi were prepared for it. And that time they invaded the market, they made a place in the Indian hearts, and we replaced Indian brands with these Chinese products, and they are still going and making a huge profit in the Indian market. So this is all I have to say. I conclude with this.
Okay, Devopriyo, thank you so much for your insightful views. That was very informative, very objective. Thank you so much. Next, we have Ayushi Sethia. Do we have Ayushi with us today? Okay, I don't believe we have. All right. Okay, then moving on to Sanskriti Singh. Do we have Sanskriti with us today?
Yes, Priya.
Okay, hi Sanskriti.
Hi.
So okay, the mic is yours. Go ahead.
Yeah,
All the best.
thank you. Good morning, everyone. I am Sanskriti Singh from second year ECE, and today I would be talking on the brainstorming topic how the Chinese e-commerce and the telecom services pave their way into the Indian markets. So, firstly, I would begin how the Chinese, within a few decades, have started building up the largest MNCs, which have graduated or did graduate from making the exact copycats of the Western products and then are now joining hands with the largest MNCs in the world or competing with them. The Indian markets have a very dignified reason or have a very reason to be afraid of these Chinese manufacturers, which have cheap finance and at the same time have aggressive pricing for their products. Now, if we take the example of Chinese mobile phones, for example, Xiaomi, which was once considered as a cheap copycat, has now evacuated the Indian markets. The also Xiaomi has now or is trying to diversify its hand over the payment banking sectors and also to providing or making up electrical vehicles. Also, some apps or some startup or the companies like Alibaba, Tencent, WeChat are some of the examples of the companies which have grown from zeros to billions within a few decades. So as we all know that China, the trading between China and India has been from a long run and has been from a long run, and also the trade between India and China has been estimated worth about 71.3 billion US dollars. But this is highly skewed in favor of China because China imports about 61.3 billion from imports to 61.3 billion to India, its products, and India exports just 10.2 billion of its products to Chinese or China. Also, when Xiaomi has taken over the smartphone sector, or Vivo, Oppo, and OnePlus, as they have taken over the mobile sector, they also are trying to diversify over the high margin profits, or are trying to make high margin profits. Also, I would like to talk about the automotive sector, like the Chinese car maker company Geely, which was initially producing Rolls Royce copycat Geely GE, which had begun very small, but now is a big player. Also, it overtook, or it bought Volvo's car business, or the passenger car business, in 2010, and now Geely is competing with BMW, Mercedes, and also Audis. So Xiaomi could be the next Geely, or could be another Geely. Also, I would like to talk about that famous Chinese app TikTok, which is a video app, which has about 200 million subscribers. It took the market of YouTube in India. Like Chinese apps like Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu, ByteDance, they are acting as a rival for the US penetration, or the US markets, which are trying to penetrate into the Indian markets, and are taking up huge stocks of the markets of Facebook, Amazon, and Google in India. Also, uh, the big market players in India have to work, or have to really make up their mind to work in to invest, or to advance towards giving huge amounts of money in making up 5G's what to say uh, 5G's mobile phones, or whatever electronic devices. Like, they have to invest in 5G's, or the latter advanced technologies, if they want to succeed, because investment into the latter technologies would prove how much we would be advancing towards the higher technologies, because Chinese, which are hailed as world's largest manufacturers, or the world factory, have evacuated the market very rightfully, because they have a high business ecosystem. They have manufacturers, suppliers, distributors, and also have gathered a number of consumers in the world. So competing with them is a tough job. Like, we have to advance towards increasing our productivity, or the abundance of the raw materials. Also, we have to run a long way through, if we want to compete with the Chinese shoulder to shoulder in these technological markets.
Sanskriti. Okay, all right. Okay, thank you, Sanskriti. Uh, okay, thank you so much. That was very insightful. You really gave a complete strategy on how to actually drive the Chinese market out of it. That was smart. Thank you. Next, we have with us Swati Shushmita. We have her today with us.
Yes, I know.
Okay, Swati. Hi, Swati. Can you please unmute yourself and your camera if possible?
Can I be just allotted 2 more minutes? Because I'm
Okay.
facing network. I'm not able to hear you properly also. Just allot me 2 minutes.
Okay, sure. Then I believe we'll be moving on. Uh, we will. Okay. Okay. Let's move on. I believe. Right. Next, we have with us is Jennifer Bari. Jennifer, are you there? Jennifer, do we have you?
Yes, yes. I'm sorry. I disconnected for a moment. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right.
Hello?
Okay. Yeah. Jennifer, can you hear me?
Am I audible?
Yes, Jennifer, you are audible. Can you hear me? Am I audible to you?
Yes, yes, I am.
Okay. Hi, Jennifer. Then, well, It's yours. The stage is
Wait,
yours.
okay. So,
All the best.
good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jennifer Bali from Electrical Department, and today we're talking about how Chinese e-good products pave their way to Indian market. So, the the Chinese mobile phones have occupied a good amount of market share in Indian telecommunication industry with booming success, which is challenging not only for the domestic brands but as well as the international brands as well. And the main reason why is their cheap price, of course, their unique features available in their phones and their cheap price. According to a recent study, rupees 8,000 to rupees 15,000 is a popular price band in India. And interestingly, this range of price is predominantly like it is dominated by Chinese brands such as Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, Lenovo, comprising about more than 50% of the shares. The Chinese firms were already coming from a 4G market. So when Reliance Jio forced all the telecom companies to adopt 4G connection and voice over LTE, Chinese brands were ready for it. The only way to get Indian e-good brand back on track is for us to manufacture goods at a greater scale, manufacture the raw materials from our own country, and and employ lots of labor for working because there the population they might have a larger population, but they know how to use them well, and they every one of their the people they work there. So um, we have to increase the manufacturing of goods at larger scale, and for this, the developers have to be given impetus in training in schools and colleges, vocational educations and skill development techniques to be imparted from a very beginning. So, Make in India is a initiative by the government of India to encourage the Indian companies to manufacture in India and um, incentivize dedicated investment into manufacturing. So, Make in India ensures finance to the engineers and developers at low interest to develop e-goods at a less scale and with a cut down price. So, Chinese brand have already dominated over the Indian market so much that it cannot be eradicated at a blink of an eye. But with the Make in India initiation, we have the potential to overpower the um, Chinese market with a steady pace. So, I think I completed before annually.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Um, well, as you suggested that whatever the devices and everything, we should actually home manufacture it, right? So there is a reason why, why do you think the US does not actually home manufacture a lot of components on their own, right? Because actually China has the cheapest labor cost and everything. There are a lot of factors, labor costs and mobility factors and
Labor
everything.
cost is the main thing why they can produce it in a very low cost. By like making it in your own home, for example, labor cost in US is more higher than in the Asian countries.
Yes, yes, exactly. We will
That's the
definitely
reason
get to
why.
it. We will definitely get to you in the rebuttal in the rebuttal session, which is at the end of this session. So hang on with us. Okay. Moving on. Thank you so much. Then moving on, we have Pushpit Raj with us. Pushpit, do we have you?
Yes, yes, Bhaiya.
Okay, Pushpit. Hi, Pushpit. Can you please unmute yourself and turn on your camera if possible?
Definitely. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Okay. All the best, Pushpit.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Hello, everyone. I am Pushpit from ECE department, and I'm talking about the topic how Chinese telecom and mobile companies paved the Indian market. So, as earlier Devo Pure said that The 7% of the market share in the first quarter of 2014 is of Chinese, and in the first quarter of 2017, there is 51% market share of Chinese products, and approx 65 to 66%. Now Chinese share their market around 65 to 66%. Now, one of the reason I think is Chinese brand have always offered low prices as they continue to do so. So the low pricing of the devices has become the bar that others have to compete against. And also in the launch event of in the one of the launch event of China, the CEO of Xiaomi, Lei Jun, had said that the company takes more than 5% net profit from its hardware business. It would be aim to pass the benefit of on its to the customers. Now, as according to the studies, and a distributor said, the Oppo and Vivo started dominating the offline segment. They are paying lots of money to the retailers and the distributors to keep their brand visible. So they would even pay for redecorating the retailer's store, the distributor said. And the retailer could so that the retailer could make money from Chinese brand by showing the number of devices sold, while the brands like Samsung demands that they sell phones worth a particular amount. Now I think the one of the main reason behind the fall from the grace for Indian brand, I think the suddenly moved from 3G to 4G network. It's a big reason for this falling in grace to the Indian market. As for the shifting of 3G to 4G, as Indians thinking of they provide the 4G phones and all the product, but Chinese already produced that and started selling in the Indians market. So I think this is one of the reasons. Now, so also the Chinese products have the low prices. So Indian would like to have that in the low prices. So Chinese phones are already coming from a 4G dominant market, and could bring their 4G enabled phone to India. So I think this, and I'm concluding with this. This is all I have to say.
Okay, thank you so much, Pushpit.
Thank
Very
you.
objective, very technical, as expected from an engineer. Uh,
Okay, thank you.
we'll see you in the rebuttal session at the end of this session.
Yes,
Next,
definitely.
we have moving on. We have Rishabh Gupta. Rishabh, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Rishabh.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. All the best.
Thank you, Gaya. Hello and good afternoon to everybody. I am Rishabh Gupta from Mechanical Department, second year. I'm going to put my views on the topic that how and why basically Chinese mobile companies invaded India and took over the market share in Indian markets as well. So, uh, for this, we have to understand three factors: what happened in the past, what is happening right now, and what is predicted to be happen in the future if it goes at the same rate. So basically, embrace yourself, and while I walk you through those journey. Anyways, so let's start. So basically, everything was good for the Indian markets. All the companies, namely Micromax, Lava, Carbon, and few other small players. Uh, it was good till 2014 when they had more than 55% of the market share. They were doing good, but it is now at 10%. So what had made them to fall from such a height to such depths? Okay, so at present, out of five top selling companies, there are four which are from China. The Xiaomi being the highest, having 30% of the total sales. Then there is Samsung. Then there are other Chinese brands like Oppo, Vivo, and Transition, and others are there. But all I mean to say is the Chinese are covering more than 80% of the market nowadays. The Samsung is at number two, but it is also facing the heat. It is also at the danger. It is also it can also move out of the market any day. Okay, so what are the main reasons that this occur? I don't believe that this is only the price to specs ratio, as Debopriya said earlier, because you see, Chinese have already been giving us better specs than Indian mobiles. Later than, like, from the starting, like there were four SIM mobile phones which were available on the TV at 12 a.m. in the morning. So it is not the factor. They have been giving us better phones at better rates, but the main thing is credibility and marketing. Earlier they were used to sell through telemarketing, and they were not very credible. The people used, like, did not used to believe on those sources. They did not used to buy those Chinese phones, because they used to believe that once it like once some problem occurs, then they have to go to China for them to repair the phone, or it won't be repairable. But now it has changed its marketing scheme, right from Amazon selling apni dukan, and Xiaomi making the label "Make in India." That is all the credibility issues they are trying to solve over here. Okay, so they are trying to make, like, believe, like, tell the people that yes, they are here for you, they are making for you, the phones are for themselves and are made in India only, though they are not. The silicon dyed in the phones are already prepared in China and are only assembled over here. But that is another topic. If we get into that, that would be very deep. So yes, so basically it's not possible even for Geo and other manufacturers to make it in India, because it is not. Simply it is not. The Chinese manufacturers are way beyond that stage. We cannot create them in India. It is not feasible. Okay. So the main reasons why Xiaomi entered this market and engulfed it whole is, the main reason is that the Indian market, the Micromax and other companies failed to gauge a fundamental shift from 3G to 4G phones. When 4G phones was released, like launched, and 4G network was released by Geo, then Micromax had a huge inventory of 3G phones. It did not have the funds to make the 4G phones right then away, whereas the Chinese company had the 4G prepared already, because the 4G was launched earlier in China. So they had this benefit over Indian phones. Micromax had to sell 1 month of inventory over to a period of 2 years. So that caused a great loss to Micromax. Now, after that, this is not only the reason. The Xiaomi sells smartphones at 5% profit, just 5% profit, and also took the online chains of selling the mobile phones, while the other companies are selling it offline and offline based strategy. So it is incurring more cost to them. Like the other phone companies like Oppo and Vivo, they also sell their counterparts at offline medium. You may have seen a Oppo or a Vivo statue, or that a balloon man standing outside a mobile shop, right? So they have taken the offline parts, so they are selling good, and Xiaomi had taken the online part, so they are selling good. So they have taken the Indian market by both hands. Tier 3 and tier 4 cities are only concerned about offline marketing. They are not concerned about online marketing. So online marketing is taken by Xiaomi and other bigger smartphone brand. And Oppo and Vivo, while they are online, their main presence is at offline stores. The they have like spent 1,000, like millions of rupees for advertisement and marketing, right from IPL to the shops near you. Okay, so this is the major reason why they have entered Indian markets. Now, also, the distributors were given a lot of incentives and benefits when these brands entered the Indian market. Targets were given to the distributors, not on value based, unlike Samsung used to give a target, like if you sell this much value of a smartphone, I will give you this much incentive. But the Xiaomi and Vivo, what they gave volume based orders. Okay, you have to sell in volume. They are not worried about value, they are worried about volume. How many pieces do you sell? And incentives were a lot higher than what Samsung used to offer to them. So therefore these companies held a good position among distributors and retailers as well. So these were the few main reasons why these company were so successful. But everything, as one wise man once said, that technical advantages and cash burn is not a long term strategy. So the sun has to set someday, so it might set earlier. Okay, so government has taken strict laws against the Chinese import policies. Therefore, you see many companies are preparing their manufacturing units and small, like assembling centers in India itself. Okay, because government had been rising the taxes on importing mobile goods or mobile manufacturing hardware to a very high rate. So that's the major reason. Another major reason for the possible comeback of Indian markets is that the Indians are not reliable on Chinese products anymore. They do not believe in Chinese products anymore. So they are looking for Indian counterparts to come. And as the 5G comes, as 5G comes, Indians are more like vulnerable not to buy Chinese products. They are intending to buy Indian products. And if some Indian companies comes with a 5G smartphone which is in their budget, even though it exceeds cost of some Chinese phone, then also Indians will probably go for it. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Okay, Rishabh, that was quite a roller coaster. Thank you so much. Uh, we'll see you in the rebuttal session at the end of this session. Uh, now, I believe, Swati, are you still there with us? Okay, you are muted. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Am I visible?
Yes, yes, you are. All the best.
Okay. Okay. Well, many of the points have been already kept by all my fellow speakers. I don't have any something new to say because obviously we are talking about how Chinese market in whatever in every industry is exceeding all the other markets that are currently in this world. Well, it's true that there are a lot of factors. Their budget, their way of producing, their way of providing the cheap products in the market, and obviously that cost, that money is the most important factor. They are overcoming all the other products that are currently present in the market. Still, I can say that if if India has to compete with such companies, if India has to compete with the Chinese company, then they have to look towards the other factors, such as providing all the products that are provided by them in the appropriate budget. As we are moving towards from 3G to 4G, obviously we are facing network issue, but still we can overcome all the issues if different factors are taken into consideration. As we say that China and India has the biggest population, okay, it's our market value. Like China, whatever product we launch, if it launches in China, then we get maximum number of people buying it. And that's the same reason that goes with India. Every American, you can see in this COVID situation also, American companies are very much eager to invest in our projects. This is because we have got that kind of mass, we have that kind of population. These two countries are most populated, so whatever product in whole world, either it be USA or a Korean company, they are most strategically facing that either it should be launched in China or in India. Due to this COVID situation, there has been a lot of strains between the governments of China and other countries, so they are focusing on India. So I can feel that this is like I have that whatever situation that is revolving around, the strong feeling that is this is the best time to target, because other companies are ready to invest here. Whatever Chinese companies have done by in this lots of year, they have made their mark in every industry, either it be USA, India, Korea, everywhere they are present everywhere, because of whatever they did, because of their previous strategy, and still they are maintaining it, still they are coping up with it, still they are able to provide whatever new, because as the generation passes, as the time come, we always move towards the advancement, and China keep pace with that advancement, along with the money issue. Because in this COVID situation also, just like Rishabh told, that even if it's a bit costlier than the Chinese product, people will buy it. But in current situation, I would say that even if we get a product which is less costlier than Chinese product, then only people will buy it. So, and this is in this COVID situation, I guess this is the best strategic time that we points toward those condition, and we points toward manufacturing it. Obviously, made in India is getting more voice. Our prime minister is also invoicing that these companies, that Indian companies should be allowed to product, or should do some kind of things, that they would be allowed to product all those product in India, so that Indian companies can also benefit from the same.
I believe we lost Swati uh, because of the poor network connection, maybe. Swati, are you there? Is still there? Okay, well,
Hello? Hello?
yes.
I'm
Okay.
really sorry. I'm really facing bad network. So I would just continue it from the point I left, that this is the most strategic time to plan it and just target whatever Chinese markets have done. We can do the same thing as we are getting huge amount on investor. We can target in, and we can also make base not only in India but also the other markets like USA, Korea. They have also a huge amount of market and they can also invest in our product. So this is the best strategic time. Whatever China has done, we can cope up with that. And it's moving with the technology, then obviously we need some advancement, but sooner or later we can cover it if like proper policies or proper workforce is launched. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Swati. Uh, okay, Swati. Thank you. Yes, as you said, and as Rishabh also said, that price wasn't really a primary factor in the beginning of this whole espionage, of how Chinese actually paved their way, because they were there right from the beginning. They were always there. But how come in this last 5 to 6 years they have actually dominated the market? That was the real thing. And you all gave very good points. I believe we should move on to the rebuttal part, right? So, if anyone has any questions or any arguments for our speakers, for our participants, please feel free to unmute yourself or turn on your camera if possible, and then go ahead.
Hello.
Is Devpro.
Yeah.
Also, I will encourage everyone to try to turn on their camera so that it is quite interactive.
Yeah. I am visible, right?
Yes, yes, Devpro, go on.
Yeah. So my question is from Jennifer and Swati. As they mentioned, made in India point, the point made in India. So yeah, you made it clear that the Indian means our PM launched a program made in India, but the Redmi and all these products produce their phones with a tag made in India, and they advertise these things and reach the people's mind. So why not our Indian products, means our brands such as Micromax, Lava and Carbon, they didn't succeed in this made in India concept? Where our Indian brands failed in grasping the made in India part?
So the main problem is with the advertisement. As you can see in the Oppo and Vivo thing, the advertisement, the banners were like everywhere. They target the most important thing that to Indians, that is cricket and Bollywood. The main Bollywood stars used to advertisement them. Every cricket jerseys have Oppo and Vivo logo, like they used to have. So they target their audience very beautifully, I must say. Their but with the Micromass lava carbon, that's the problem. They didn't advertise it that much. When you used to go to the any shop, the first thing that you'll see is the Vivo and Oppo movie. So I believe the advertisement is the problem. Like our Indian brands are not able to advertise their products properly. Like in 2016, Oppo and Vivo together spent around something $56 million in advertisement. But right now they are decreasing because in 2019, like last year, they spent around only 1,500 crores. So yeah, it is decreasing, but they had a really good marketing strategy.
Well, I also want to add some point. Yes, as Jennifer said, it's true because everyone. whenever you are in a market and you are trying to sell your product, it's a marketing strategy. You have to be up to the mark from starting also, from advertising to being present in every shop, along with the service centers, along with the quality, along with targeting your proper audience. Everything is counted whenever your product is launched, and Chinese companies stay intact with everything. They already have made their strategy and they went hand in hand with that. That was the reason that we failed, because there must be something. And obviously, we can see that yes, they're advertising, they're being
Yeah,
present
so we
in
conclude. Yeah. So we conclude that advertising was the main factor where Indian brands failed and the Chinese brands succeeded in.
Can I add up?
Sure, Aditi.
You are talking about advertisement, you are talking about current scenario. But if we go a decade before, Micromax was the company in every jersey. Like you're talking Oppo and Vivo in his every jersey. A decade before, Micromax was the company in every jersey. Like now, every mobile store contains Oppo, Vivo logos and posters. That at that time, Micromax, Carbon, they were also famous. But still, 10 years after that, we can't see them anywhere. So they did the advertisement too. But why did they fail? The same strategy they also used. Every jersey also contained Micromax cricket jersey, IPL jersey. Micromax was there, but why did they fail?
see, Aditi, it's
So,
not
okay, please continue.
Hello. Hello.
Well, I believe the question which Aditi shooted was originally for Jennifer. So, Jennifer, why would you go on?
Yeah,
Okay,
actually,
so I'm speaking like for a decade ago when my brother bought a Nokia front selfie camera. It was about 41,000 at that time. It was 2008 or 10 something. So it was 41,000 at that time. And my uncle bought the same thing, like front selfie camera phone, and it was for around like 5,000 only. So the price was the main factor at that time. The price of those phones compared to the Chinese brand of the same copycat brand, the Chinese one had very low price, while the our own brands like Micromax and others had very high cost that time. So even if you go now, like the local people who they still use keypad phones because it's portable and it's easy to use, they uh, they especially sold for only 200 rupees. And like my I have this person who sells phones, and they say that the Chinese company actually have like they only buy the phones for 5 rupees per piece, those especially those keypad phones, 5 rupees per piece, and they sell it for 200 rupees. So of course they have like a lot of profit in that, while the Indian brands, the problem is the price with the pricing, because they are homemade, and actually homemade things always have the price things.
No, I would just add a point that the bitter truth of Indian brands are that they buy manufactured phones from the Chinese companies and they do the branding here. So that's why these cost a very high price. Means these mobile phones cost a very high price. So we should start producing. We should start manufacturing. We should start making the raw materials like processor and all. The MediaTek processor is a Chinese made product. So we should start making the processor and all also in India. I
See,
think we should do that.
Devapriya, may I say something?
Yeah, Rishabh. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, the thing is, we cannot manufacture silicon dies over India. Even in USA, they cannot manufacture it. Okay, so the labor cost has not been the same in China because it was earlier a lot lesser than what it is now. Because the China is also raising its bar because the China knows that every country is coming to them for labor, for cheap labor. So then also it is more profitable to make it there. Okay, they will not manufacture, any company will not manufacture silicon dies. It is simply not possible. In technical terms it is not possible. And to answer what you said earlier, you said that what Micromax should brand made in India. So see, their USP is not made in India. Everybody know Micromax is made in India. It is for Chinese products to prove that they are made in India so that they can sell it out. Micromax main problem is to upper their specs and to brand it as Chinese phones. The Chinese phones has what to flash. They had to flash that they have cutting edge specs. They are made in India. They have to prove that they are made in India. They had cutting edge specs. That is their truth. The Micromax truth is that they are made in India. That is their truth, and they have to prove that they have cutting edge specs. So that is different for both. Okay, so you get what I say. So they don't have to say that we are made in India. It is already known fact. They have to market that they have cutting edge specs. Okay, thank you.
Now everyone is talking about price. Chinese mobile are cheaper than Indian. Then why? No one mentioned the reason why Chinese mobile are cheaper. Not only because of that cheap labor or raw material. It is also because of the tax system. The difference of tax system both the countries follow. You know, due to new GST system, India 20 India keeps 28% tax GST system to import and export both. And India in the tax system in India follows as this. It has different 0%, 5%, 12%, 18%, and 20% tax on different items, and items are categorized. CGST is collected by central government, states claim SGST. Meanwhile, IGST is levied by the center of all interstate supplies of goods and services, and it applies for both import and export. So if any company who will come to India, it has to give more and more price to India to set up their country to sell their product than any other country. If we compare this to China, China has only 17% tax system. So जब कंपनी को फायदा हो रहा है कम में, when he can make its product and sell it in less price, then of course it will prefer the country which which is giving it more opportunities than India. So this is also one factor, the tax system of India, which is preventing different companies to set up their base in India and making our product too very costlier than others. And I think all the participants missed one point, this point, and this was very important point. Thank you. You can proceed further.
Thank you, Didi. That tax system is very true. It's very stingy. It's a bitter truth. Indian tax system. I mean, if you see not just on electronic products, if you see on a sports car or any electronic products or anything. For example, I'll just give you an example. That these type of export and import taxes that India government actually imposes on things, such as sports car. If you buy a sports car, an imported sports car, and then import it in India, it will cost you double of that because they charge you 200 to 250% of tax, right? So that's the kind of taxation system we are talking about. And really, we have to grow. We definitely have to grow. And there are new policies and everything. Indian government has actually brought many new policies that will allow foreign investors to invest in India, right? Very transparently and everything. There are major and minor hiccups in between, but those are solved, right? Because that is the priority of the Indian government, foreign investments, right? And how to keep them and how to keep them flowing, right? So, if I will say a few words on it, but I would like some other people to have, I mean, if you have any arguments or anything, uh, please go on.
I will add up one more thing with this example. The current scenario after this much foreign, this much branding and wanting that other companies to come in India and establish their base. Today, buying an iPhone in India is way more costlier than going to Dubai, buying an iPhone and coming back to India. So you can go to Dubai, buy an iPhone, come back to India. It is cheaper than buying an iPhone in India. This is the tax system of India today.
Yeah, actually, if you see when iPhones are released in the US primarily, let's say if you multiply it by 100, that will be the cost of it in India, the exact form. Right, that's why it's $1,440. So in India, it will cost you around 1,44,400. Right, so that's the kind of calculations and everything, and the profit margin that they're keeping. Now, I would start first of all with one thing. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, uh, Coca-Cola's rival was Pepsi, right? And there was a time when they were fighting vigorously. in the market, Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, right? In between, what happened? Fruity dropped in, right? So you see, both the products were almost same, right? Only Pepsi they say was a bit sweeter and everything, right? But what happened was someone dropped Fruity in the business, right? So what happened? They captured a different portion of the market. It was the same thing, juice, right? To freshen you up and everything. The same marketing propaganda, right? Katrina Kaif with slice and everything, right? The same marketing propaganda, the same thing, just a very different market segment, right? So what happens is you have to find your audience in the market, your niche, right? So as Rishabh said in the beginning, that Chinese brands have always been present in India. But do you people remember before 10 years ago, it was something like China ka maal to tikta hi nahi hai, right? See, Chinese products are, they channel it in two ways. First one is homemade products for themselves. So Chinese people make products. There are two different types of products. The quality which you will find in China for the Chinese people made in China is very different than what they will use to export, right? So if they don't have Facebook or anything, right? WhatsApp or anything, they have WeChat and stuff like that, which has been made in China and used in China, right? So they are self-sustaining themselves, right? So that quality is different for their own people. And then there is another quality which is for exporting in the entire world, right? So they use different quality there. Even though they use different quality outside to export, the quality bar which they have set in India is still higher than the products that were available at the time in the same market segment. It wasn't like they just dropped the price and then people went mad. Oh my god, a 12 megapixel at 8,000 and 7,000 rupees, how's that possible and everything, right? How would you trust it? Because it was there. Chinese phone, I've used Chinese phones and stuff like that, which was say 4008 megapixel, which was a huge thing at that time. But the thing is the quality. It did not have the quality. You use it for 6 months, it was gone. Small phone, right? Then they increase their quality, right? So in India, according to India, they increase their quality, not according to their own standards. Then they brought in, as Jennifer said, a very valid point, that advertisement really plays a very important role, right? Now see, they saw the opportunity of make in India thing, right? Make in India has been in India for the longest time. It has only been rebranded and sold it to us and the foreign investors and everyone, right? But it has been there all this time, right after globalization and everything. So what happens, I'll tell you, is that uh, their quality and everything, okay, advertisement, right? So they were advertising Micromax and everything, as Aditi said, as Jennifer said. But what happened? The right time when the Chinese entered the market was during this campaign of Make in India, right? When it was actually flooding our WhatsApps and Facebooks and social media. So it was then that they entered it. Now they had many advantages, like 4G, advantage of 4G. Indian manufacturers of mobile companies and birds and mobile companies, let's stick to mobile companies, did not have the equipment to build 4G products, uh, uh, antennas and communication channels and everything. They did not have the equipment, right? Right now, as we are moving towards 5G, see, Vivo has already brought 5G phone, iPhone and everything, right? Still, India is missing on the 5G thing because we do not have those equipments and those things of high quality to actually produce 5G equipments. Huawei, right? Huawei is there in 5G. China, it was in a trade fight with USA and everything, right? So during that time when we were moving from 3G to 4G, they brought in 4G phones, right? So they increased the quality. They brought in 4G phones, and they chose the right time to all those strategy and everything to enter the market. and then they subsided everyone from the market. Micromax, the thing that Jennifer was talking about Nokia as well. That's a whole different story. They also did some mistakes and everything. They did not modify. They did not update. That's why they were drawn out of the market. Even though I'm telling it in a very short sentence, and that is not possible, right? But so that is what happened. So I believe if anyone has to add any point or anything, you people, or then otherwise I'll conclude.
Yeah, I want to add a point.
Yes, sir.
Yes, like uh, instead of buying iPhones for 1.5 lakh, or we are constantly reverting back to the androids, like a single company or a single Chinese company is producing Xiaomi, Vivo, Oppo and OnePlus and all. So मतलब अगर एक खराब हुआ, मतलब जैसे अगर Vivo खराब हुआ तो फिर Oppo, Oppo खराब हुआ फिर OnePlus, OnePlus खराब हुआ फिर Vivo, फिर ऐसे मतलब एक कंपनी ही इतना सारा प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है। तो मतलब अगर हम लोग आईफोन लेने जाए, उसका 1.5 लाख कीमत है, हम लोग उसको 3 या 4 साल आराम से चला सकते हैं। लेकिन हम लोग करते क्या है कि हम लोग कम बजट वाला फ़ोन लेते हैं, लेकिन वो टिकता नहीं है। हम लोग एक ही कंपनी के ऊपर रिवर्ट बैक करते जा रहे हैं, उसका ही प्रोडक्ट खरीदते जा रहे हैं। तो लास्टली उसको ज़्यादा मुनाफ़ा होता है ऑब्वियसली चाइनीज़ लोग को। मतलब ये एक पॉइंट था।
Hmm, true, true. See, that's the economical state because भले ही अपना GDP is whatever जितना भी shrink हो रहा है and all of that, per capita income of Indians have always been low. It is still very low, right? Per capita income of every household. See, the thing is, uh, पहले कोई भरोसा नहीं करता था when Chinese companies were pouring in into India, right? But once they were around, once they got a stronghold, कि नहीं, even though they were exporting it from China and everything, they were saying that they are assembling here. तो उसी को मेक इन इंडिया नाम का कैंपेन देके they were kind of just passing it through and then everything. Once they got a stronghold that okay, now we can trust it, right? They were advertising that okay, we have sold this much of products and this much of thing. Samsung, Nokia, Micromax, no one ever said in their advertisements or anything that they have sold 10 million or 100 million
Yeah,
only.
Chinese did one thing. They did flash sales. I mean, they produce a limited amount of products, and then it all sold out. So they advertised that yeah, these many of product were sold out in this second and all. So that made a great impact on the customers also.
Yes, yes, that too. And the type of advertising that they did, that they showed numbers to us, to the local public, that look, we have sold 10 million of these phones, right? So how can we not trust now? Everyone is using it, right? You were using it, you are trying it, and you people, Indians, could afford to try it because it was so low, right? uh, and then they went on and then they like swept away everyone from the market, so because they got that stronghold at the right time. And Sanskriti, of course, iPhone, as we were talking about, versus Android, that's a huge topic. The thing is, I'll give you one point. Have you ever heard iPhone being hacked?
Like,
Exactly. You will never hear that iPhone has been hacked on stuff, but Android phones, they can be rooted, they can be hacked and everything, right? उसके बावजूद people don't use Apple and everything, like people use, but tier 3 tier 4 states and places, they don't use iPhone and everything. As you said, that is true, that is true. So they increase the hype, right? The hype, as Devoprio suggested, they increase the hype by limiting the stock and strategizing on the advertising by showing us very normal numbers which every company has. They just flaunt it in a better way, and they are using all the policies and sentiments of India, right? The Indian people, they are using the sentiments ki make in India. Even though they are assembling it, they are calling it make in India, but what we are hearing, okay, make in India to aaya na. So somehow we are just adjusting to it, right? And now it's completely deep rooted. not just Chinese phones and everything, but telecommunication equipments, 4G, 5G, sub Chinese, right? The toys, the small toys that you play with, that you see in the railway stations and everything, right? Those toys, fertilizers, textiles, and
भैया
whatnot.
हर चीज तो चाइनीज है, कोम से लेके कोम भी चाइनीज, नेल कटर भी चाइनीज, यहाँ तक कि जो सेफ्टी पिन्स आता है वो सब भी चाइनीज होता है, सब तो चाइनीज ही रहता है.
Yeah, exactly. And you see, those are not completely bad quality, right? Those are not completely bad quality. Now, purposefully, a company makes something a little low quality. Even though, let's say, even though I'm a company, right? Even though I have the access, I have the means to make a very high quality product, a very high quality product that has never existed in the market. I will make it a little bit lower. You know why? So that you keep coming back to me, you keep coming back to me for servicing, you keep coming back to me to buy new products, so that it gets it gets something, it gets wasted, or you have a problem with the circuit, or you have a problem, the screen breaks and everything, right? Even I have Gorilla 6, I'll give you Gorilla 5, so that you keep coming back to me and you will trust the product, because I am setting it to a bar which is which hasn't been touched by any other Indian companies yet, right? And now, eventually, after 5 6 years, you will trust me with whatever product I mean, whatever product I give out in the market, you will trust me. That's why MI bands, MI earphones, all these came after the phone, right? Because now we tried the phone and the phone is excellent, it works, right? Before, what used to happen was Micromax had very less number of service centers in India, so that was a problem, right? Nokia did not even evolve, they failed to evolve, so that was a problem. At that time of somewhat a crisis, these type of brands, Xiaomi, Redmi, Oppo, Vivo, this Realme and everything, they entered the market. So that was the timing, right? And I believe, even we can't really drive out the entire this Chinese products and everything from our lives, until we find an equivalent, and equivalent competition, an equivalent product, right? An alternate product of it. So we all, right now, post COVID, there has been so many startups and everything that are trying to comply with this Make in India policy, and they are trying to build electric vehicles and everything in India. Although it is, sometimes it's very cheaper to actually import stuff than to make it there in home, right? So these kind of stuff are there. There are many factors and everything. Well, I believe it's already 1:46. Let's end the session here. Let's conclude it if no one else has to say anything.
भैया एक लास्ट पॉइंट ऐड अप करते हैं.
Sure, sure, sure.
इट्स ऑल्सो अबाउट द मेंटालिटी ऑफ इंडियंस. हम लोग को फॉरेन गुड्स बहुत अच्छा लगता है, मतलब चाहे वो कुछ भी हो, इट्स एजुकेशन, इट्स हॉस्पिटल, एनीथिंग, वी प्रेफर फॉरेन.
But we will not prefer Chinese good. I can assure you that. हम लोग को फॉरेन गुड अच्छा लगता है, बट चाइनीज गुड अच्छा नहीं लगता है.
कौन से लैपटॉप से अभी कर रहे हो मीटिंग?
डेल.
कौन से कंट्री का?
अरे तो we will, if we are producing, if we are getting the same low price brands in India also, then we will surely prefer Indian products rather than preferring the Chinese product.
लेकिन जो पहले से ही पैसे दे दी हो,
if we are getting the same parameters, then we will prefer Indian products rather than preferring the Chinese products.
But that thing is definitely not going to come within these 5 years. It will take time, a huge, at least a decade, to Indian market come back to cover up. पता है Micromax is going to launch its phone after its setback, and it's called IN. It is specifically a gaming phone which is going to be launched specifically for gamer with new series and all that. IN series. How many of you know about that?
Yeah, it has made it low cost also, 6,000 to 7,000. Yeah,
Yeah.
we know it. Yeah,
तो
we are
खरीदने
waiting
जा
for
रहे
it
हो ना?
also.
Yeah. Didi, Devapro, you both are right. In your own perspectives, of course, there is an Indian mentality, right? Uh, because
भैया, we are बस randomly sitting and watching a YouTuber, a foreign YouTuber eating our Indian foods. They are tearing our wrapper and eating such. सोचिए हम लोग का ऐसा mentality कि हम लोग वो लोग को खाते हुए देख सकते हैं, and they are having, मतलब कितना सब्सक्राइबर होता है उनका। हम अगर बैठ के भी खाएंगे यहाँ पे तो मेरा कोई वीडियो देखने आएगा।
depends on what you
So
eat, but
it's not about you and me. It's about a
Then you
huge
eat,
group
then
who
you go
follows
eat
it.
Chinese product. We will see you watching eating Chinese product, that cockroaches and all.
let's stick to the focus. Let's stick to the focus. Let's focus here. Uh, I believe we have uh, we have crossed the time limit and everything. Let's continue this conversation once I end the stream. Right. So you people can stick in. Let me just end the stream. Right. You people stick and we can have a discussion. So and also thank you officially everyone for giving such valid